If the US does exit when the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, what happens then in the Strait? And also with Israel, do they continue their operations in that instance?
Well, if America ends this war, or at least its side of the war, with the Strait of Hormuz still closed, I think much of the world will see this as a defeat of sorts for the United States, because that's such a key part of this. That's one of the major energy and oil arteries of the world. The fact that the Iranians have been able to close it and keep it closed now into its fifth week is something that really angers the President of the United States. I don't think he counted on that. And so for the Iranians, that would certainly be seen as a victory, despite all the damage that's been done to their own country, and all their capability has seriously been hit by such bombing from the United States and Israel. As to Israel, I don't think they'd want to continue by themselves bombing Iran, but I think they'll certainly have dug in Lebanon, southern Lebanon, which they're now talking about essentially occupying southern Lebanon, south of the Litani River, and occupying that, as they did back in the early 1980s. So I think the Israel war against Hezbollah in Lebanon will continue for many months, but I don't think Israel would want to be bombing Iran by itself.
There are reports Gulf states are advocating behind closed doors for the US to continue fighting until real regime change is achieved in Iran. If that is true, why would they be doing that?
It's difficult to know exactly what some of them want and whether it's all the same thing. If it is true, the reason would be because a lot of these Gulf states have been shocked and appalled by the way Iran has targeted them in response to America and Israel's bombing. And I think some of them would have the view that they want to see the Iranian capability degraded once and for all. Let's not forget that the subtext of a lot of this is the Shia-Sunni battle within Islam. And of course, Iran is seen as the spiritual leader of Shia Islam around the world. The Gulf states, and Saudi Arabia in particular, are part of the Sunni world. And so there's this underlying tension. Now, about a couple of years ago, China brought the two sides together and essentially brokered a ceasefire, if you like, between Iran and Saudi Arabia. That's all now up in the air. That's all now been discarded by this attack by America and Israel on Iran. But those Sunni or those Gulf states, their view would be that they see Iran, to use their terminology, as the head of the snake, and they think the head should be cut off. That's the way that many in the Gulf see Iran.
So, John, what are we watching out for in the next few days?
Well, I think two or three things. Firstly, we've got to keep a close eye out for any defections inside Iran, inside the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. If we see wholesale defections, then that's a sign that the regime is collapsing. We haven't seen that yet. There's no real indication of that. But the key decision will be made by the President Trump, and whether he decides to go in. There is strong suggestions here in Washington that they may try to locate some of that missing 400 kilograms or whatever of partly enriched uranium somewhere in Iran, which nobody really knows the location that we know of. But if the Americans try special forces operations to locate and seize that, that will be a major escalation from the American point of view. Or if they try to take control of somewhere like Karg Island. From the Iranian side, their strategy militarily is just to hold the line, just to try to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. Because from the Iranian point of view, in a strategic sense, they know that every day they keep that Strait of Hormuz closed, they're putting more and more pressure on the man we've just seen, President Trump.